Hello everyone, my name is Phong. I'm a PhD candidate at Stony Brook University. Today I will be presenting our paper with the title How Great is the Great Firewalls Measuring China DNS Censorship. This is a joint work with researchers at Stony Brook University, UMass Amherst, the Citizen Lab, and UC Berkeley. Since the internet has become an important means of modern communications, governments around the world are increasingly controlling the free flow of information on the internet. China and Russia are some notorious countries where internet are heavily censored, preventing their citizens from accessing numerous websites and online services. So when it comes to internet censorship, China's Great Firewalls is known to be one of the most sophisticated censorship systems on the internet, which has been developed for more than 2 decades. And as you can see, this earlier article about the Great Firewalls was from 1997. And even until today, the Great Firewalls is still being studied and sometimes occupy the headlines of several newspapers. This is because the Great Firewall is still being actively developed and updated on a regular basis to allow the Chinese government to control over what can and cannot be accessed by internet users inside China. So there are several filtering techniques used by the Great Firewalls, including DNS tampering, IP blocking, keyword filtering, and active dropping. Of this technique, DNS tampering plays an important role in China internet censorship because almost every online activity nowadays starts with a DNS lookup. And this censorship technique will also be the focus of our study. As you can see from the network trace I have here, which I capture a DNS lookup for the domain getI2p.net from a machine that I have in China. For those who are not familiar with I2P, it is one of the popular anonymity networks on the internet. Since getI2p is censored, 2-factor DNS responses were injected, and the correct DNS response still arrived at my computer, but after the 2-factor response have already arrived, and therefore poisoning my DNS resolutions. And from this censorship case, we draw some initial observations about China's DNS censorship behavior. First, multiple factor DNS responses are injected, and the forced IP addresses are publicly routable, and they dynamically change, and mostly managed by US organizations, including Facebook, Twitter, or IBM. So those unit filtering behavior have motivated us to conduct a measurement study to understand more about China's DNS censorship. And we are interested in answering these research questions, like how many censored domains are there? What are the fake IP addresses used in DNS injections? And are they totally random, or is there a set of fake IP addresses that are being used by the Great Firewalls? And more importantly, we want to evaluate the impact of the Great Firewalls DNS censorship on the global internet. And finally, based on the findings of the above 3 questions, we want to investigate how to effectively detect and circumvent the Great Firewalls DNS censorship. So when building our measurement system, we have these requirements in mind. First, it should be able to discover as many possible censored domains and fake IP address, and in a timely manner. Second, it should be able to obtain and test new domains as they appear on the internet. And third, as a longitudinal measurement platform, once a domain is discovered to be censored, the system should continuously keep track of the domain's blocking status and to see if the domain stays censored or become uncensored at some point in the future. And finally, by measuring many domains with sufficient frequencies, the system should provide us with a good view into the pool of fake IP addresses used by the Great Firewall, which then can be used to design effective circumvention tools. So to that end, we designed a measurement system called Great Firewatch with our test list curated from DNS zone files and updated every day. This allows us to obtain new domains as they appear on the internet. However, zone files alone contain only second-level domains, and we may not be able to observe the blocking of other subdomains. So we complement our datasets with domains from the Citizen Lab test list, the Tranquil list, and finally domains from the Common Core project. This way, we can cover as many subdomains as possible. And from our machines located in an uncensored network, we send DNS queries heading toward machines under our control located inside China. And this machine, they don't have any DNS resolutions ability. And now, at this DNS queries passing through the Great Firewall infrastructure, which has been shown to be near the border gateways of China, any packets carrying a censored domain would trigger a fake response. So this way, we can be sure that any DNS responses returned to our machine in the US is a fake one. So it's important to note that we could do this experiment because of very well-known behavior of the Great Firewall, which is bidirectional DNS filtering. In a similar manner, once we found censored domain by probing from outside, we transfer these domains to our machine inside China and probe them again from inside to validate our findings and also to detect if there's any change in the bidirectional filtering behavior. So over the 9 months period of our study, we detected 311,000 domains that trigger Great Firewall's DNS censorship. And in this plot, we note that there was a sharp increase around August 31st. And we found that this is because of an addition of more than 30,000 subdomains from the previously censored namespace, which are googlevideo.com and appspot.com. And as a result, we need a better counting process to not overcount different domains censored under the same and more general domains. So that motivates us to find a better way to count, and our goal is to find the shortest domain that can trigger blocking. And for each sensor domain, we test 8 different permutations concatenated with random string, and this way help us to improve the accuracy of our counting process. And here is how we do it. First, we concatenate the sensor's domain with the random string, put it in front of it with and without the delimiter dot. And similarly, we put the sensor domain after the random string with and without the dot. And finally, we put the sensor's domain in the middle of the random string under 4 different permutations. So any domains blocked under rule 3 is considered as blocked as intended, because any domains fall under this rule are legitimate subdomain of censored domain. Similarly, domains blocked under rule 1 and 5 can also be considered as blocked as intended, because these are the form of a domain with different top-level domains. For example, we have google.com and google.com.au. However, any domain censored under other rules are overblocked. So with this new counting method, we discovered a total of 138,000 base censored domains from 311 censored domains found earlier. Also, based on the new counting process, we found many innocuous domains being overblocked. A notorious case is that the Tor project domain is blocked under rule 4 like this. So as a result, any domains ending with torprojects.org are also censored. For example, we have the ventilatorprojects.org and the mentorprojects.org are also blocked. So with the new counting process, we found 41,000 innocuous domains being overblocked. Most of them are blocked under this rule. And this table lists the top 5 base sensor domains that impact the largest number of innocuous domains. And as you can see here, there are also internationalized domains that are being impacted by this overblocking rule. So during the course of 9 months of our study, we also discovered a new behavior of the Great Firewall, which is designed for geo-blocking. So what is it? On August 8, 2020, we detected the blockage of this domain belong to the Chinese government. These websites offer a service to allow website owners to obtain and verify their website internet content provider's license, which is obligated to legally operate a website in China. So this domain has 2 authority name servers, and all of them are hosted inside China. And as a result, DNS queries for these domains from outside China will always be poisonous because the resolution path always cross the Great Firewall. And this is what we get back for visiting this website from outside China. If you can recall from earlier slides, the Great Firewall use public routable IP address of many US companies, including Facebook, in the DNS injections. So this is why we are seeing the error page from Facebook. And how can we be sure that this is a geo-blocking case? Because visiting the same website from inside China, we still get the normal website. So this geo-blocking behavior is widespread, as we have identified almost 62,000 domains may be geo-blocked because at least one of their name servers is located inside China. And our finding helped to partially answer a long-standing question of why China's Great Firewall there's bidirectional censorship. This evidence showed that the Great Firewall is not only used to prevent users in China from accessing censored content outside China, but also used for geo-blocking of China-based websites. So the bidirectional DNS tampering behavior of the Great Firewalls has caused cache pollutions in many public DNS resolvers around the world. So this slide shows the top 10 public resolvers with the highest number of censored domains whose poison records have polluted their cache. And this necessitates a sanitization mechanism to assure the quality of DNS resolutions and many other DNS-related services on the internet. So we next analyzed the fake IP addresses used in DNS injections. And we find a total of 1,781 forged IPv4s, most of which belong to US companies, and 1,799 IPv6, all of which are bogus territorial addresses. So during the 9 months of our measurements, there are 3 different periods during which we observe different numbers of forged IP addresses. And analyzing these periods independently and as a whole, we find that not all IP addresses are equally injected in censored responses. In April and from May to August, there's only around 200 IPs are used in more than 99% of censored responses. And since September 2020, there are 600 IP addresses that are being used in more than 99% of censored responses. So these findings show that there is a pool of IP addresses from which the Great Firewalls frequently used for DNS injections. And the discovery of this pool of IP addresses can help to effectively circumvent China DNS censorship more than 99% of the time. So in summary, our Great Firewatch measurements platform has made these contributions. The system exposed China censorship policies in a timely manner. It also discovered unknown DNS blocking behaviors of Great Firewall, including overblocking, geo-blocking, and the injection patterns of fake IP addresses. And the collected censored domains and forced IP addresses can be used to assist in the sanitizations of poisoned records from public DNS resolver cache. And finally, they can also help with the development of effective strategies for detecting and circumventing China DNS censorship. So we thank the Open Technologies Fund for supporting this study, and thank you for your attention.